Hey guys, Czar here. Good morning to you. Hope all is well. Trust you're having a good day so far. It is hump day. It's Wednesday, September 11th. Of course, a day that many of us will remember for less than happy reasons. But we are here, guys. We had CPI this morning, news that came out, and we had a big reaction, as we typically do, right there, a fairly big reaction, spanning 2 standard deviations here on the VWAP, volume weighted average price. For those who are newish here, this is the Two Sisters NASDAQ and S&P 1-minute charts. There's a couple of EMAs on there, a 9 and a 21 as well. We had a big move up here, of course, after that drop, and now we are sitting at around the 2.5 standard deviation bands above and pulling back here going into the open in about 15 seconds or so. Here is the daily frame for the NASDAQ and the S&P. No longer following the Dow very closely for my intraday trades. I used to trade it fairly extensively, but I'm now focused only on the NASDAQ for my intraday trades on the Razor's Edge NASDAQ index trading model, and using the S&P for things like confluence, alignment, misalignment, disalignment, divergence, and things of that nature. We have an up day here on the NASDAQ, guys, meaning the low is higher than yesterday's low, and the high is higher so far than yesterday's high. And we had a marginal break. Yeah, that's an update too, just marginal on the S&P. We have a bullish body on the NASDAQ so far. We have a bearish body now, just flipped bearish going into the open. Back to the Two Sisters. The market is open here on New York. There's the first 1-minute candle, still about 15 seconds to go, and then that 1-minute open range will be set, and I use the 1-minute open range fairly extensively here for my day trades. You'll see it here on my trading grid daily chart again up here in the top left, 30-minute in the bottom left, and the 1-minute chart, sometimes a 30-second chart here on the right hand side. I'm going to stay with the 1 minute here for now on the lowest time frame here, and the second minute has begun. So we are inside of the open range here, 1-minute open range on the NASDAQ and on the S&P, very much aligned here so far. You can see this morning we had a very similar set of moves here between these two indices, the drop down on the news and the rally back up to a new high, and then the sweeping up above again, sweeping up above, and then dropping, and now we have opened on the New York. I'm going to put you on pause here, guys. Cut out dead air, sideways grinding action, non-teaching moments, things of that nature. Keeps things nice and tight. I will be repeating a lot of stuff, as I have already this morning, on purpose. My goal is to bore the crap out of you, because I think that becoming a master of a single defined process is critical, and that means repeating the same things in terms of actions, activities, behaviors, but also the same thought process, and therefore the same speaking process. Internal words and external words, because that's the stuff of repetition, right? The single defined process. I do the same thing every day, over and over and over again. Overall, it works out very well for me, but of course, losses are part of the game. Took one yesterday, and then another win for a break-even final to the day for this model. I do trade other models as well in my portfolio, but for the Razor's Edge model, this is what we're doing. It's very much a repetitive process every single day. I'll bring you back as things develop here. And so the message on the daily here, guys, is fairly bullish. We do have that update with a bullish body on the NASDAQ. We are inside last week's open range. That blue line there and that blue line there are last week's range. You can see we're up, kind of moving up towards the middle of last week's range. And then we have the 30-minute that has been rallying here all morning. We had that drive up and then drive down on the news, but that was just a wick, a very big wick, by the way. Took out many candles here on the 30-minute chart, and then drove back up into a fairly open range here. You can see that clean range, and looking to try to move higher here and tap this important zone from back on September the 6th. That was a Friday. Last Friday, in fact, and it is now again the 11th today. Not doing anything here out of the gates, guys. Going to be very patient this morning, since we did have so much movement here in the pre-market. I always like to give this thing a little bit of time to have a tug of war and do a little battle here between the bulls and the bears, the buyers and the sellers, the longs and short, the good and evil. And so I'll do that now and bring you back. All right, guys, watching both of these indices now driving down. I'm not going to jump on anything here. Just going to wait and see what happens here. Remember, we do have this up day like we did yesterday, by the way. I ended up taking a short, 2 shorts, and the second one worked. The first one did not. But that was against the daily bias, meaning a cascading up day. But that's okay to do as long as the stack of units of conviction makes sense. Revising my zone marker up here, guys, to these 2 equal body highs. For now, it's an interim zone, a newish zone. We do have a break of prior candle low here on the 30-minute. Potential process of flipping to a bearish body here on an up day on the daily, meaning mixed signals and certainly mixed emotions come with that. Back to the power grid. This is just a marker, guys. I'm not doing anything here. Just going to do some measuring, in fact, and I'll let you know if I go live here. I would be looking for 1 hour. I'm doing a lot of 1 hour trading lately, guys. And those of you who've been following me for a while will know that I, for the longest time, traded 1.5 and 2 hour targets. This market, for me, is not conducive to doing so. Not yet. That may change, but for now, 1 hour seems to be more suited to my Razor's Edge model. Even with this elevated VIX, and we are up around the 20 level here. Let's take a look at today. Yeah, 18.27. It's down from yesterday. We were at, I think, close to 20 yesterday. But even with the elevated VIX, it doesn't mean we're having sell stop order, guys, right here live. Sell stop order, just so you know. Just because VIX is elevated doesn't mean that we're having clean follow through to 2R targets, for instance. It means we have elevated fear in a way. We have elevated implied volatility based on options pricing. We have more wildness in the market, but it doesn't necessarily mean cleaner moves. And when I start to see my targets being surpassed, my 1 hour targets surpassed cleanly, and prices running to 2R on a consistent basis, I would absolutely switch to 1.5 to 2R targets. But for now, that is not the case. In fact, many of my trades are hitting my 1 hour and then reversing violently, and I post those in my group so traders can see that happening over and over again. And I joke around about how, that was a lucky exit and so on, and in many ways it is. But those are things to watch, in my opinion. Here we go, guys. And I'm in, and I am in. Short the NASDAQ here below the open range. Bearish body now on the daily, even though it's an up day. 9 below the 21, by the way, on the daily. This is a downtrend, right? So even though we have an up day from a cascade standpoint, we now have a bearish body on the daily and below the 9, below the 21 in a negative moving average configuration. These are mixed messages, and this is something that traders need to deal with and dance with, if you will. Decide what kind of footwork you want to employ in this dance. We have that new zone there, new zone marker, revised zone marker. We have a break below prior candle low. We are below the open range, 9 below the 21, and new session lows. So there are all kinds of reasons to go short here, and there are a couple of reasons to doubt that the short will work. And that's trading. All right, guys, kind of grindy a little bit here. If we get a new low, I'm going to move my stop to break even. Just to lock this in, we are down here at a zone from the UK session. It's not an incredibly powerful zone, but prices did reject from inside of here on that news item as well. Of course, the CPI this morning and other data. But if we get a new low here, I'm just going to play it safe and move my stop to break even. And there's the new low. Stop to break even here, guys. Going to play some defense here. There we go. So that's where that is now. I'm just going to put it back so you can see this trade. And if I get stopped out at break even, I'll keep the video going so you can see if prices went back to the original stop or if they hit take profit. I know that many of you like to see that. I'm cool with it. And there it is, guys. Took a little while. little bit of a grind here this morning. I think I explained this trade in detail, so I won't bore you again. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you soon.